Uh-oh.
I'm.
Jay?
How are you, sir?
I'm good. Have a seat there and we'll get you.
In the hot seat.
Oh, it's
Look,
a
you got dressed up.
What am I going to do to you? Well, I got to wear this today anyway, so.
Me too.
Welcome to Inside Look. I'm Jeff Lyons, joined today by my boss, Vice President and General Manager of WFIE, Jay Hiett. Thanks for coming on, Jay.
Well, thanks for having me. I mean, yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to you.
A big get, right? I just walked down the hall and tried to butter you up a little bit, to get you here on the podcast. Well, before we really get rolling here, and we're going to talk about you, I just have to say you've taken a lot of, I wouldn't say chances, but you've supported trying different things here. And this, of course, is one of the things, the Inside Look, the podcast. We now have What's the Trend in the Morning. Have you been on that one yet?
No, I've not been on that one. I'm not sure I've got the...
This will be a good warm-up for that one, so we'll kind of ease into it. But what drives you to try new things? You know, we're kind of a business that has been somewhat, reluctant to change things. What changed?
Well, listen, I think that's it, change, right? So constantly in this world, there's always change, and information comes to us faster than ever before. And, we've been lucky here, Jeff, as you know. You've been here a while. I've been here a little while as well. But, people really rely on this brand, and we're very fortunate that people rely on this brand. Sorry about that. And so I think it's important to try different things and take, without great risk, there's no great reward. And I think our viewers expect us to always be a little bit ahead of the curve. I think some of the best ideas are stolen. I mean, we've taken some ideas from other places and we've implemented them here. So I just think it's great that we have people like you that are willing to try different things for us.
I was the first to eat peas in my family. I was one of those that tried things. So speaking of eating peas, let's go back to the early Jay Hiett days. You grew up in Paducah, right?
I did.
So talk about growing up in Paducah. Like, did you wake up one morning and said, I want to run Channel 14 up in Evansville?
Well, sure, absolutely. Who didn't? A young fella in Paducah growing up.
That's right.
No, I tell you, I loved growing up in Paducah. Far western Kentucky, obviously, a couple hours from here. Always liked television, even growing up there. They have a great station there in Paducah.
Yeah, Channel 6.
Yeah, and it's kind of a powerhouse like here. And so you grow up watching that. And I grew up in the 70s where television, there was only, 3 or 4 at the time, right? And I was the clicker. I was a remote, And so, but, you saw that and you relied on it. And it was just kind of fun. It was entertainment. And, it was either going into some sort of sports or television or even kind of messed around with acting a bit, trying to thought, okay, well, maybe I'll try my luck there.
Oh, I didn't know that. So were you a jock or were you a theater geek or what were you in high school then? Really?
Yes. Yeah, I was lucky enough to play basketball and soccer, and I was also in choir, and I did theater as well. So I tried to be as well-rounded as possible.
Yeah, I'm taller than you, and yet you played basketball, huh?
You didn't play, and you should have.
No,
right?
I didn't. I was the announcer and scorekeeper. That was where I was at my best. I was awful on the floor. No coordination whatsoever. Do you like playing sports?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely loved it. I think any sports, and I know we've talked about your father was involved in sports. Right?
Yeah, he was a football coach for many years.
I think, listen, whether you love or hate sports, it teaches life lessons. I believe sports teaches a great deal of life lessons, and that's what I enjoyed. I enjoyed it. You had the winning and the losing. You learn from that. I also enjoyed theater and choir. I think that was also a terrific thing to be involved in. I think the arts are wonderful. I think it's something we should never take for granted. I was very fortunate to be involved in both of those things, and I think that helps you mold yourself.
What roles did you play? Do you remember productions?
Yeah.
Don't tell me the role. You tell me the show. And
Showboat.
Oh, Showboat. Well, I don't know that show very well, but I'm guessing you must have been like the guy, the huckster, the guy on the front, that's a come on up, folks.
Yeah, kind of a
up.
Comedy role,
right?
And they brought in. It was interesting. They brought in a guy to teach a person to teach me to dance because in that deal that show has a lot of dancing, and singing in it. And it took them a long time to teach me to do just a few dance moves. So, but it's fun. I mean, being on stage and being in front of a lot of people, it's an energy. You do obviously how that goes. Yeah. The great work you do on the stage for the charity. And
did you any other shows?
I was an extra in a movie they filmed in Paducah.
Wait a minute. Well, I didn't know about that. What movie?
It was a Bruce Willis movie. It's called In Country. It wasn't a huge hit, obviously, but no, it was fun.
Even with you in there as an extra.
Yeah, and it didn't. I can't figure. I tell you, it was fun. For 3 days, we sat around and took a nice little check for that. So, and you got to see the behind the scenes of how movies are made, and it's interesting. And Bruce Willis at that time had just come off of Die Hard. In fact, he had rented the theater in Paducah and watched that movie because it had just come out, and so it was kind of cool to be involved with a movie with a guy like that.
So you're in Paducah, then you were off to Western.
I did. Well, I went to Bowling Green. I graduated from Western Kentucky University.
Okay.
And after that, I ended up, my first television job was in Monroe, Louisiana.
So you went television right off the bat. So was your major, I mean, I know your sales, so what was it business marketing or how did you, or theater or with a minor?
It was, no, I got out of the theater. Someone told me early on, you know what, you don't make a lot of money in theater, so maybe you should try something else. So I got out of that and ended up trying to get, like every guy that likes sports, hey, I want to be a sports broadcaster, right? So I tried to get jobs around the country, mainly in the South because of my accent. And so I worked with Byron Douglas at Channel 2 in Owensboro, Kentucky. That was my first job.
I never knew that either.
Stephanie Sylvie was working with us.
And what were you doing?
I was a reporter. And I tell you, one of the worst experiences, and I'll tell on myself on this. So there was a guy over there by the name of Joe Utley, is kind of a legend in Owensboro, right? Kentucky Wesleyan.
Exactly.
Does a great job. And they sent me on a story. And I wanted to get into sports, but they had the job. So I thought, okay, I'll take this to get in the door, right? So it's cable 2 there in Owensboro. They sent me on a story. They said, hey, I want you to go cover corn. There's prices of corn. So I get over there, and every young reporter, what they love to do is, they like their stand-up. So I I was by myself, set my camera up, did the stand-up. I'm sitting there doing the stand. I'm so proud of the story on corn. And I get over there and I edit it and I went back to the station and it luckily made like the A block in our business that, people don't know.
Right up in the top.
It's the top,
the lead story.
So I was real proud of that. And after I get done with it and everything, I'm excited. And I believe a couple people walked in and said, okay, the story was fine, except, hey, you idiot, you were standing in front of grain.
So you didn't pick the right grain.
I didn't pick the right grain.
Well, okay, lesson learned.
So it was lesson learned. So I did that and ended up thinking, maybe this isn't for me. So I thought, well, I'll stay in broadcasting. I'll get into sales. And so that's how I ended up in Monroe, Louisiana. And I was doing sales in Monroe, Louisiana.
Yeah, and then kind of climbed up. And I know you were at Channel 7 for a period of time. Were those stations
they were connected
at that time?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. They were connected, and so I was fortunate enough to get a lot of experience in that. And then Debbie Bush, our former boss, it was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to come over here in a sales capacity, and I've been here ever since.
Okay, and I think, and I've been around a little bit longer than you have. I think you're the longest tenured general manager now. Well, coming close too.
Oh, whoa!
When did they crown you? When was the big coronation? I might have been off that week. What year was it?
It was 11 years ago.
So okay. So, 11, you're pushing up the longest was Conrad Cagle, 17 years. And he was here. He hired me when I came in 1988. So I've been here 30.
They've had some great ones.
38, yeah.
Yeah.
So, then you just got to hang in there 8 more years and,
Well, easier said than done, right?
Oh, I know. So, when you came from Monroe up to Channel 7, that was in the day when an owner might have 7 stations, maybe 15. I think the cap went to 15 while I was here. And now there's virtually no cap. We have very large owners that have, dozens, if not hundreds of stations out there. So that's a big change. How has it been for you then to be kind of in the middle? In other words, you've got the corporate structure and expectations sitting on top of you, and yet you've got to herd the cats under your own roof and try to make a little money at it at the same time.
Sure. Well, it's changed. As we're talking now, there's a pending deal with Netflix and Paramount with, Warner Brothers Discovery, and a lot of people are hearing this mass media stuff. Listen, back to what I said at the beginning, change is what happens for everything. I think the reason that the company that we work for, Gray, is successful is because of people like you and people in the building. And so navigating it, listen, successful places have successful employees, have great employees. And, I'm just proud to work alongside people like you and all these other people that most people don't see behind the scenes. One of the things I love about what you do here with this Inside Look is that you get to introduce some folks to people that they would not normally know, right? And some of these folks, as you and I both know, extremely talented human beings, and it's just great to shed a light on them, even for 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, and it's been a lot of fun, finding people to come out here and talk and tell their stories and everything. I think the one mystery, so I'm going to ask you, because you're kind of the wizard behind the curtain back there. Nobody really knows, the magic sauce to run the TV station. But as long as I've been doing it, which is 40 years, if I count Terre Haute, there was always this push, we got to get the younger viewers. We got to get the younger viewers. And I was I was 21 when I started. And that's been, ongoing. Well, you and I both have kids. They don't even have TV sets anymore, So it was the younger viewer just always a mirage on the horizon, or what do you think? I mean, who's watching us now?
Well, listen, it depends.
Yeah.
I would say this. I would say that more people get news and weather information from local television stations than ever before, because I believe that we've expanded, whether it's here or our friends across the river or our other friends here in downtown, or even Wiki or South Central. I said South Central. That's
they're Midwest.
Right? Midwest now.
It changed.
Town
Jay.
Square.
Yeah.
All these people are doing a terrific job in our area, and I'm so proud to be a part of that. But people are getting more information they've ever gotten before. And so I always kind of say, listen, when people say to me, not a lot of people are watching television much anymore, I say, well, not necessarily. If you see some of the crazy numbers and crazy, statistics on things like NFL on Sunday night on NBC, or, hey, Indiana just won a national championship. I mean, I don't know what Fox is going to report on those viewers, but significant viewers. And what's important about that is, anytime you can put your brand in front of a mass audience, and that's what we are, a mass audience, right? You're going to create habits, and habits start young. So if they are watching, or they're watching your podcast, or they have our weather app or our news app, they may not necessarily watch television day to day, but when they're wanting that information, they're getting it at their basically literally anytime they want.
Yeah.
And then eventually, when something happens, they're tuning in.
Yeah. It's basically become more about the content than the method.
It is.
We used to think of a TV set in a living room and people gathered around watching it. That doesn't exist for the most part, except for, like you described, big game or something. But being able to reach people regardless is the strength we have. But my question is, is a mass audience even possible? I took a class. They offered a free class during the pandemic. Remember the pandemic?
I remember the pandemic.
It was all over the news.
Yes.
And during 2020-21, and there were some free classes offered by IU. My daughter was going there at the time. She didn't want to take the class, so I said, "Well, I'll take it."
Smart,
sure.
Very smart.
Well, it had to do with social media and the media, basically media, and it was a media class. So I took it, and the instructor was probably in his 40s, I would guess, very knowledgeable guy. But anyway, it was a real wake-up call when he said, back in the mass communications era, and which doesn't exist anymore, because what we think of as the golden age, like Ed Sullivan on at 8 o'clock Sunday night and Gunsmoke Monday and everybody watch, that doesn't happen anymore. So it's impossible to amass these audiences. And consequently, it's harder then to monetize it. Would you agree with that? I mean,
I would. I would absolutely. I also think, though, Jeff, that we have the opportunity now to be in front of more eyes than ever before. I mean, I kind of believe that we have our own little golden age of media, and certainly the media gets bashed constantly. We understand.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
right. I mean,
we're punching.
But we do good work, and I say we, not necessarily me, but you and your colleagues do terrific work in important work. And what I mean by that is you save lives. You warn people about weather. We help a lot of nonprofits. And, I believe that with all the platforms we have, we're doing this from a room here that we stream, 4 times a day. You've put, this is on Facebook, this is on YouTube. We're now taking our product, and all these local stations can now put their product in places we've never been able to put our product before. So in essence, we're not really fenced in anymore. Right now, whether or not they're all watching us, hey, we hope they do, right?
Well, sure.
But we're putting it out there more than we've ever put it out before. And for that, I think that the upside for years to come is just terrific. Someone told me a long time ago, in this business or any business, money follows excellence. So you talk about, well, how do you make money on that? Well, if you do great work, money finds you. And, I think that you don't lead with the money, you lead with the work. And you lead with doing the right thing, and then the money will come.
We were talking earlier about that, about the money coming and all of that. And it occurred to me, you're a salesperson. I mean, that was your background. Right. And in thinking before we did this podcast today, I was kind of just thinking about all the different general managers we've had. And some of them came through sales, some of them came through news, a couple came through, I guess, tech or engineering or production at that time. And it's funny because the sales based ones were always optimistic, like you, full of energy and optimistic. The news ones were cynical. It's like, that'll never work. And the ones in production really, were kind of in the middle of those two extremes. So as a salesperson, I mean, you have to always, be on the sunny side of the street. When you first started sales, what was that like for you? Like, what was your first pitch? How did you make that first sale? Do you remember? Were you selling Grit magazine? Or, what were you selling?
Listen, I was in Monroe and I was in Louisiana, and they moved a little slower down there. And I was from Kentucky, and they would say, "Oh, you're a Yankee coming in here.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know us." And I'm like, "Well, I'm from Kentucky. I didn't think I was a Yankee." Right?
Just a couple states away,
Right. So, but no, I can remember, I've been lucky enough to work with a lot of people in obviously in sales, right? But I don't know, there's something about helping businesses that's kind of neat, and I can't necessarily remember. I actually do remember the first sale. It was a carpet store down there, and the guy wanted me to, he was negotiating with me, and we finally, it took months to get the guy to trust me, and I was a kid. I mean, he was an established business owner, and he's like, "What do you know about this? I mean, you look like you just got out of college," and so I had to establish that rapport and that trust, and we were selling a Fox affiliate down there with no news, which is awfully hard to do. The Simpsons,
right,
In Living Color, Married with Children. Those are the days of those guys.
Yeah.
Some of these people were like, "Who are those shows?" But it was a neat experience, but it took a while. And you enjoy seeing the fruits of your labor when you actually get a sale done and see it work.
And see, that's interesting, and that's how uninformed I am, because the way I thought sales worked was that, the sales force, the men, the women back there, they just went down. I mean, now they probably don't knock on doors, but would just cold call somebody, sign on the dotted, we'll take care of you, and it was done in a day. And so, but it's a process, as you say, because it's really, I guess sales is like everything else. It's more relationship building. If they don't trust you or are skeptical, they're never going to go for it.
Well, that's it. And quite frankly, there's so much out there in our world, in the media world, right? Where you and I get thousands in a week of images of advertising that we don't even know about. From
banner ads,
everything,
and pop-ups,
right? Everything.
Right.
So the key is making sure that you're talking to advertisers to say, hey, that needs to stand out. Right, that needs to stand out, and that because we're all bombarded, and the key is you do it over and over and over.
Yeah, but it's gotten harder too because there's more competition out there. I mean, even though like you said earlier, we have more viewers than ever, but so does everybody else.
Right.
I mean, it seems to be the case. So you really have to try to differentiate and do that. Sales. Tell me a good sales story, like something that just just blew up, went off the rails. It didn't have to happen here.
A good sales. Well, I mean, in means of basically happening good, or we've also had those ways where something you thought was good and then it went bad.
Right. Well, I mean, I've been involved in different things over the years in broadcasting where something was promised to a client. We thought, oh, this is going to be great, and then I'll give you an example. We were going to give away a truck. I don't even remember who the dealership was, but anyway, we got down and it was a big live draw and everything, and I went and awarded it to so-and-so. Well, it was a stick shift. So the first thing the woman, said, well, you must love your truck. Well, I don't know how to drive a stick. Okay, well, now back to, and you're thinking, boy, the advertiser must be hot about that. We had another one where you had to have a key to start a car over the course of
I
a
remember
month.
those. Yes.
Do you remember this one though? And so we had 14, I think it was 14 keys or whatever it was, and the people had qualified. We were at Eastland Mall. The car is there. They had the 14 keys out. Our marketing guy at that time, of course, knew which key it was. So they hand the keys out, randomly. But so we go through 14 live on the news. None of them opened the car. None of them started it. And so they had either put the wrong key out. I don't know what happened. So that was a little tough.
That's tough.
Yes, it was.
That's tough.
But the person did get the car in the end. But,
I mean, there's all. Listen, I had a client once a long time ago that called me at home, and he was really upset. And he's like, my commercials are running overnight. Why did you put my schedule in to run a bunch of overnight commercials?
Right.
And I remember at the time I was thinking, wait a minute, I don't think I did that. And if I did, I threw in some stuff for free to help him out.
Yeah.
Well,
he added.
I thought, oh, okay, well, this guy's got to cancel. I'm done for, and lose the sale and all that. Well, he said, I just want to let you know because I made a sale off of it.
Oh.
So it taught me then early on, hey, people watch at all kind of time of the day, right? And, you can never... We've done this a while, and you think that you know your audience. And, the audience, God bless the audience, they constantly change.
Yeah.
And the habits constantly change. And if it's not for the audience, we wouldn't be here talking right now with this. And so I always tell, you've heard me say this before, and I say this to every one of our sales and news folks, hey, say thank you to the consumers that are consuming us, because they don't have to. Right, it's a choice,
sure,
and God bless them for choosing us.
Yep.
And then number two, thank the people in the building that are doing all the great work, particularly the ones that we talk about that are behind the scenes that don't get the type of the glory that some of the other people on the staff do.
So I've scheduled this particular podcast to run, I think, either New Year's Day or the last day of the year. And then my intent was, because we've gone a year now with Inside Look, but I wanted you to look ahead into this year. Now, of course, last year, 2025, we had a major, change in the country, politically and otherwise. Moving ahead into 26, what gets you excited about the upcoming year here at 14?
Well, for us, we have two things on NBC. We have the Super Bowl in a few weeks, and then the Olympics right after that. Those are two big programming things. But what I get more excited about is things like this. Things like our streaming, things like your podcast, other podcasts, things that we'd like to add through the year. And I think the more we can kind of be a chameleon for the viewer, the better we can do. I'm excited about something that you and I have talked about. You're working on that you'll be talking about later. I'm assuming that'll be more of a
out and about.
Out and about.
Oh, no, we can soft launch
listen,
it.
I love that out.
I
love that out and about. I think that's again, it's a neat idea that you had, and I love the fact that it highlights the everyday average things that people wouldn't think about, and you're kind of going in depth in a sense with that. So those are the kind of things I'm excited about. And I think 26, of course, I am optimistic. I think you have to, listen, you have to be optimistic, Jeff, right? Why would you not be?
I've worked with a few pessimists over the years, too.
Listen, you get knocked down, you just get right back up, right, on everything. And so I think 26 is an exciting year. I mean, I'm really looking forward to it.
Okay. Anything else to add here?
No. I mean, I thank you for everything you do, and I mean it. I mean, you work very, very hard. People don't know that. You care, and we have a lot of employees that care, and I'm just blessed for that to work alongside you and your colleagues.
Well, I appreciate that. If I'd known you were just going to compliment me the whole half hour, I would have had you on second episode. We would have done it that way. So, Jay Hiett, thanks so much for coming on Inside Look.
Thank you.
And look through your old playbills. I want to hear more about your theater career. I think there's gold to be mined here. I'll get in touch with some folks in Paducah to find that out. You remember any songs from Showboat that you'd like to sing us out with?
Well, no, I could. Listen, I haven't sung in years, so it would be bad.
All right. Well, thank
you, Jeff. Thank you. And thanks to everybody that listens and watches this. I really mean it. We really appreciate it.
Yes, and I appreciate it too. So with Jay Hiett, I'm Jeff Lyons. Thanks for watching and joining Inside Look. If you'd like to watch all of our podcasts, you can do that wherever you get your podcasts, and you can watch on the 14 News YouTube channel. Be sure to check out our companion podcast, What's the Trend, with Aaron Weeks and Casey Mason. That airs or runs every Friday. With Jay, I'm Jeff. Thanks for listening.